My name's Craig Collin, and we're missing one of our presenters, but the four of us are here today, so I'll let them do some introductions. I've been with ASC for 21 years now, and my current role is Vice President of Operations, mainly focused in the North, but also some home office duties. Michelle?
My name is Michelle Beckham. I am in our HR department, and I have been with ASC for 17 years.
I'm
Keisha?
Wilson. I'm a regional VP in Central East, and I've been with ASC for 3 years.
I'm Kim Turk. I'm in the HR department, and I've been with ASC 7 years.
All right, so welcome to the starting gate. So at ASC, we do a lot of things really, really well. We are definitely known for certain things. We've got great clinical, great outcomes, quality measures, star ratings. Steve went through some of that. Census, marketing, financials. I think we all do really, really well. But we're going to focus today on something I don't think do that well, to be honest. And we're going to focus on one slice of that. So if we really look at turnover as a whole, if we look at onboarding, if we look at hiring, recruiting, orientation, all of those pieces that go into making a great employee experience, especially in the first 90 days, we're going to focus on that, but we're going to focus on one slice of it, orientation day. That day alone is going to be where we're going to spend pretty much the entire 45 minutes talking, and we're going to prove to you why it's so important. You're going to see a lot of statistics up on the board, a lot of data we're going to throw at you. We're not going to necessarily talk about those data points. They're there just for you to know that there is something behind what we're talking about. So that being said, we're going to get this started. I'm going to hand it over to Kim. We've got a rolling mic. We're on camera over here. Thank you for coming. It's all yours, Kim.
No pressure. So, any observations when you entered the room? Did anyone make any observations of the atmosphere, the environment when you came in? Want to raise your hand? Maybe someone at this very special table? Extra friendly. Okay, all right. We weren't prepared, were we? For you guys anyway. Special folks, we got candy on the table and everything. We gave them hugs and welcomed them, walked them to their seats. What else? What else did you guys notice?
I sat at the reserve table.
You did, and I asked you to move and you didn't. It's okay. We were being intentionally attentive to these folks to make an example of what it feels like, what the impact is of being welcome when it's intentional, how that feels. And we're going to talk about that all through the presentation. The first day of orientation, the welcoming, how that feels when you come into a space that is prepared intentionally for you, right? So who felt unwelcome or felt like, this is rude? Why are they paying this table so much attention? Why do I have to unstack? Why are my chairs not at the table? Yes. Who noticed that there were not chairs at the table? Yeah. Did you feel like, what the heck? Did you think about it? No. So, okay. So I'm going to hand it over to Keisha. I just want you guys to think about your first impression coming in this room and how that correlates to our new employees. When they show up on the first day, what does that environment look like for them? Are we prepared for them?
Thank you, guys. So let me hit it to the next slide. All right. So one of the fun things you guys get to do today is learn about racehorses, since we've got Derby theme. And you'll have to excuse me because I know absolutely nothing about the Derby. So this is a fun research assignment for me. So if I get my facts wrong and you're really in the know about this stuff, just tell me later, maybe after the session, give me some clues. Not during, please. And I'll correct my facts. But I want to tell you a little bit about American Pharoah. So pretty cool story with this racehorse in particular. So when he was born, so if you kind of know the timeline of what this looks like for horses, so obviously they're born, usually, bred specifically and particularly for racing from race parents. Usually how it goes is what I've learned. And then they move pretty quickly through this system. So they get them ready and then they go sell them, right? And they hope to get top dollar so that these horses maybe can be these great race horses. So this horse in particular, they expected a lot of him coming out of the gate, right? His owner didn't want to sell him for less than $1 million at the sale. Unfortunately, he had what they think was a little run-in with another horse, and his tail was snipped off a little bit. And then he had a leg injury going into the sale. So this owner who thinks, I'm going to get $1 million for this horse, I have high hopes for this horse, wasn't selling. And so essentially what happened, and I don't understand the world of horse buying, but his agent, so every owner has agents that buy their horses for them, basically bought it for himself, for his own owner who already owned him, for $300,000. So as you can imagine, if I'm an owner and I'm expecting $1 million and then I basically just bought my own horse again for $300,000, I'm probably not super happy. So they put a lot of time and energy into this horse, and they knew he was special, right? He had this super calm demeanor, and he was incredible with his speed. I mean, he just, this gallant gallop, very smooth but super fast. So kind of to speed us up, essentially what happened with this horse after they gave him the time and attention and put the effort in, he was the first horse in 37 years to win the Triple Crown. So if you're me and you don't know what the Triple Crown is until you look this up, that's 3 races, the Kentucky Derby, Preakness Stakes, and Belmont Stakes, all in 2015. So pretty incredible. He retired about 5 months after that win and then became a sire, so then they're using him to breed other horses. But why does this all matter? Well, for one, it's just a fun fact because we're going to learn about Derby horses this week while we're here. But also, what you put in to your new hires matters, okay? He had such talent, didn't have a great start, but the time and effort was put in, and he was a winning racehorse, the first to win, as I said, the Triple Crown in 37 years, so big deal. Okay, so we're going to now move into a video clip. Nope, just kidding. That's right. Sorry, this is round 1 today. So I'm going to pass it over to Kim, and we're going to go through again why day 1 is important, what does that look like, and how do we get there with our new hires.
Okay, so I need everybody's grace because I'm sick. All right, so the 6 C's, we're going to take a trip. Has anyone ever been on a cruise? Raise your hand if you've been on a cruise. Cruising is my jam. I'm all about it, okay? The drink package. Okay, so the 6 C's, this works in multiple instances. And so we're going to use cruise as our example of how this correlates with giving folks the best first day impression. So what happens even before, for folks who have been on a cruise, before you get on the ship, what are some things that are happening? So they have a Facebook page, so you're kind of doing some research on the ship, and you're asking about other people's experiences, and they're giving you feedback, and you get an email, you get an agenda, you might get an itinerary, you might get an introduction to staff, just a brief, something to connect, correct? Something to help you to connect to the ship. Things introducing you to the culture of the ship, even before you get there. And then when you get there, they put a wonderful drink in your hand that you have to pay for later. I learned that the hard way. It's not an all-inclusive resort. You have to pay for the stuff on the ship. Someone takes your luggage. They take it to your room. They give you a tour sometimes, depending on the ship. If it's Carnival, not so much. But if it's a nice ship, you might get a tour. You get to learn about the staffing, more about the staff. And then after that, what happens? There's a safety check. That's the compliance piece, right? So now you've connected with the folks. You understand the culture. You kind of know what's happening, who's who. There's the compliance check. There's the safety. We're going to tell you what to do in the event of, if this boat sinks, everyone needs to know to be here or to be here so that we all can be safe. And that builds confidence. I understand what to do. I understand who to go to. Where I am, and what to do in the event of an emergency. Then, if you're on a good ship, at some point, staff is going to check back in. They're going to make sure you're okay. See if you have any questions, anything that needs to be clarified, right? So the clarification and check back is extremely important. I personally have never had a horrible first day on a cruise, maybe a third or second because of, the ship rocking back and forth. But for the most part, my experience on the first day is always like the first day of Disney World. These 6 C's can apply in any situation where you are introducing a human being to a new process or a new thing, such as a company, making sure that they feel connected, they understand the culture. Those two things I would say are the most important and set precedent for the employee's experience, because if I feel connected and I am familiar with the culture and I feel like I belong, I found my people, I found my tribe. The rest is just, that'll fall into place. But that connection and the culture are the things that precede everything. So now this is what the overall day looks like, right? In our presentation, we're going to get into the segments of orientation, so each piece. But this is just giving you an idea. So you'll be looking for these 6 C's, the lack thereof, or when they are actually effective during the presentation and within the video. So now we're going to talk about the welcome.
All right, so hiring is tough, right? I use my hands too much. Does this clip? Yeah. Okay, so hiring is tough, right? Who in here has staff just pounding down to get in their door and come work in their facility? Anybody? Let me know. Right? And if you do, we need to know your secret, because you need to be the one telling everybody. We get them in, we finally get them hired, we get them in the door. Then what happens? We get them through orientation. Sometimes we're gonna lose staff to no fault of our own. Attendance, probably our biggest arch nemesis out there, right? My car won't work, I don't have transportation, I lost my sitter, the company down the road's paying $2 more. So many things that we cannot control, they're gonna lead staff to leave us. But the one thing we can totally control as the building leaders is a good orientation and onboarding. That is our time to get them in there and be like, hey, we got you. We want you here. We want everything organized for them. As building leaders, we get it. Your days either start or end in some kind of crisis. You got census issues. You've got families at your door complaining about something. A nurse didn't show up. You have 5 calls, 4 meetings all in one day. You're putting out fires left and right. So what can happen is, as building leaders, I think there's times everybody knows we need a good orientation. And you know why we need a good orientation. But you're putting out so many fires. Orientation goes from being a necessity, we must have it this way, to, that'd be great if we could do it that way or not. So what we want to really talk about today is why we need to have the mind shift, regardless of all the fires you're putting out and everything that you are doing on a daily basis. We want to really focus on why it's so important to make orientation, a good orientation and onboarding, a must-have and not a, it'd be good to have if we possibly could. So these are just some stats. Like Craig said, we're not going to go in and read all of these to you, but these aren't ASC specific. They're just more across the board statistics that really show why when we don't have a successful orientation and onboarding, what can happen from there. So the next thing we're going to go into is a video, which may or may not be one from one of our facilities of an orientation. And this is probably one of those orientations where, we probably didn't have them so great when they walked in the door.
Hey, I'm here for orientation.
And what's your name?
Jeremy.
And they told you today was orientation?
I think so.
So you're like my 4th one, but I was not told that we would have orientation today.
I don't know what to tell you.
All right, well, Lisa, I had another person here for orientation, but no one told me that we were doing that today, and I don't know where to put them. When did they tell you to be here?
8, I think.
Have you figured out what we're gonna put them in there? Could they go in the conference room? No, if you're making any of those not people yet. No, I'm still working on that. Okay, do you have an idea when it's gonna be done? Because they're gonna be calling soon. How long should we have them send it in? It's due in an hour, so. Okay, well, once you get them situated, let me know once you have payroll done as soon as possible. All right. I'll let you in just a second.
All right. Thanks.
You're welcome. If you just want to have a seat over there, I guess I'm gonna have to figure out where to put you guys.
what to wear in case you didn't hear. Overdressed.
All right, so we're going to talk about structured versus unstructured orientation. So I think there's a little fib that we all like to tell ourselves, especially when we look at the PI or other surveys like that of our personalities, that there are some people who don't like structure. So it's fine. They just want their paycheck. That's why they're coming, right? Well, I think the root of structure, guys, is that even as adults, none of us like to be in situations where we don't know what to expect, because really that's what structure versus unstructured is about. So when we take a look at orientation, we have to make sure that people coming into our buildings know what to expect. I always make sure to tell my team leaders, I know we're all adults, but how frightening is it to walk in on your first day of work and not know where the bathroom is, not know, especially those of you who know I love to eat, not know if you're going to get lunch, how you're going to get lunch. Are you supposed to leave for lunch? Are you supposed to bring your own lunch? What are you supposed to wear? Where are you supposed to be? How long are you going to be there? I mean, there's so many questions about first day that as those of us who have been in a job for a while, we don't think about, okay? So we've got to really make sure that we have that structure for our folks coming in so that they know what to expect. Because if you blow it on that day one, and we have an experience like we saw in the video, I mean, would you feel very welcomed? No, of course you wouldn't. You'd be like, these people don't have their stuff together, right? They need to get it together. So when we are preparing for orientation, we need to make sure we ask ourselves, are we setting clear expectations for that candidate? Do they know exactly what they are supposed to do when they walk in that door? Because if not, it's probably nerve-wracking. And I know, at least in my region, and I'm going to assume it's this whole room, we've experienced so many people who don't show up to orientation. We hire them. We expect them. We may even tell our teams at the building, thank goodness it happened right that one time, right, that they were coming, and then they don't show up. Well, did we let them know exactly what time to come? Did we give them all these expectations and set those clear parameters for what to expect from us, what we expect from them? We have to let them know those things. And are you clearly communicating job responsibilities? How many times do we get, 3 weeks in and a new hire says, well, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. Well, did we talk about their jobs with them? Do they understand that it's more than a piece of paper? Do they know what's expected? We have to communicate those. We cannot assume that maybe because they've already been a cook at another building for another company that they know what to do, okay? And then is your paperwork or your video, anything that you're showing, whatever you're doing on orientation, is it impersonal? Are you herding cattle like we saw in the video? Or are you just like, oh, okay, everybody follow me, we're going to go in this room and here's your paperwork and we're doing this? Or are we making it personal? Are we making sure to make those connections? Is it structured? Do we have the tables set up? Are all the materials they need for the day there? Have we talked to them about where the bathroom is, like I said, to let them know, hey, we're going to take some breaks? Or, hey, we're not going to take scheduled breaks, but you're free to get up. Here's where the restroom is. Here's where you can find drinks, or we have drinks and snacks for them, etc. So we have to make sure. So who all in the room has had a bad experience with coming into a new job of any kind, whether it was 20 years ago or 2 years ago, that they were uncomfortable with that? I know I did. So I will share, and it was with ASC, but they redeemed themselves. So I show up, so I get hired in this position. Everything at home office goes wonderfully, and I go into a facility to do my drug screen and my TB, all the fun things that we have our folks do that we hire at our buildings. And I walk in, and they're like, who are you? I said, oh, my name's Keisha. I'm going to be the new RVP for the region. Oh, they didn't tell me you were coming here. What do you need? And I was like, well, I think my drug screen and my TB, I can double check. It's not a big deal. I was trying to go with the flow. And then they're making the phone calls in front of me. We have this lady here who says she is the new regional. And, what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to send her stuff? And we got it all sorted out. And I still have that building. So we've repaired the bridge. And I love all those folks dearly. But they were confused, right? So worst case scenario, they were having a bad day and maybe didn't do some of the right things, but they didn't know to expect me, I guess, So we don't want our folks that are coming into our buildings having that experience. We don't want them to feel unwanted. We don't want them to feel unwelcome. So we've got to make sure that we've got structure for them and absolutely let them know what to expect. Again, some stats. We just lose a lot of people, guys, because we don't make them feel welcome. We don't have that structure, and we don't have those expectations set up. So we're going to kick into another video now. Look, I got it right this time. About kind of the same thing. So let's take a look.
Alright guys, so you have the packets. While these videos play, please sign, fill out the packets. We'll talk about it later.
Can you explain what we're signing here?
Yeah, I'll do that later, but I have to go get my payroll done, so.
Also, what time are we supposed to end this? I have some things to do after this, so what time are we supposed to end this?
Well, you're gonna be here till at least 3.
I have kids at home I have to go take care of, so this
Well,
is.
you're gonna have to figure it out, call someone.
Do you get my transfer paperwork?
Now, what building were you from?
Jersey City.
I'll have to email them.
This says new employee orientation. I'm here for the job fair.
No ma'am, we don't have a job fair today. This is actual orientation. So, sign paperwork. I'll be back in a few minutes.
All right. How's Jeremy's first day going? Little rough, little rough. All right. So doing a lot of research for this particular room, orientation and the impact it can have, and I'm gonna get us caught up on schedule a little bit. I'm gonna jump right to the point. So I had an aha moment. I've been in this industry a long time, and before I got in operations almost 20 years ago, I was in HR. My aha moment, we focus a lot. I think a lot of you probably do a pretty good job, probably a really good job with developing a relationship with maybe a supervisor. If I'm the culinary manager and I've got a cook, hopefully that they are developing that relationship pretty quick. Or maybe a preceptor. Or maybe you've got your care companions who are also buddies or mentors. The aha moment for me came with the fact that you will increase your retention significantly if that new hire has a friend at work. A friend. So we already know, we've talked about this before, that if somebody refers somebody, they are likely to stay longer. Well, I never quite connected those dots. So here's my challenge to you real quick, is how do you create a friend at work immediately? Not a supervisor. It's got to be a peer, someone that they can just have lunch with, someone that they can have a connection with on a peer-to-peer basis. So even a preceptor, maybe not quite the right person because they're doing job skills checklists. So connections, extremely important, but I want everyone to think about that friend stat. That's a little mind-blowing and what that can do for your retention in terms of developing a peer at work, a lunch buddy. I'm going to keep it simple. So think about that. When you're even like employee of the months, think about folks out there that are making those bridges for you. So, all right, let's check back in on Jeremy. See how his day's going.
Stace, can you please do clinical part orientation today?
Sorry, I was told to do that for recording, not
Yes, I'll do clinical. Brayden, can you please do the maintenance part orientation, please? Well, I guess I'll be maintenance today too. Nathan, please, Nathan, can you please do the abuse section? That's all I need.
Hi guys, I'm Nate, I'm the executive director. Hopefully you guys all know about abuse. If you see anybody, hit, kick, anything, just call me, text me, whatever. We don't do that here and we can't let it happen, okay?
All right, so the handoff. We get them through orientation, right? We get that done, but that is by no means the finish line. Like, it is literally just the starting gate to their journey at ASC with us. When I did recruitment for the company for years, whenever I would talk to applicants, one of the first things I would always say is, why did you leave your next job? Every time, no matter what position that they were interviewing for, why did you leave your last company, which You would be super shocked at some of the stuff people will tell you. I'm like, oh, you probably shouldn't say that. But they will tell you any reason. But I can almost say 7 out of 10 times, the 2 reasons I heard that they left their last company, be it ASC or another company, it was typically no manager support and the training. They didn't have enough training. We get staff in, we need them on the floor. We want to get them out there, right? Happens to everybody. We've got to take care of the residents. We don't always do the full job training that we should, and it's not even just the orientation training on the floor. They've been a nurse for 5 years. We're like, man, you got this. You should know how to chart. You should know how to get into matrix. It's doing that training beyond that point. We can't just stop there with the floor orientation. They need to know that we want to keep growing them. Preceptor role. How many of you guys are using your preceptors? Quite a few. Okay. Are they helping? Is that a way that you're really getting your staff to know they have somebody to go to? When we put them on the floor, are they ready? I think as a whole, we tend to eat our own a lot. Like how many of you out here would say that, you're probably not gonna raise your hand, but we throw them out there before they're ready, right? Because we've got to get them on the floor. They're gonna end up leaving in the end if they're not getting that training and they're just getting thrown out there. When it comes to the manager support, they've got to know they have somebody they can check in with. I'll talk to CRG staff and they're like, oh my God, I can't talk to that unit manager. She bites my head off every time I come up to them. They feel like they're not getting the teaching and the coaching. And the R before A, relationships are going to make your staff accountable. I think you guys all know that. That's no secret. The better relationship you can have with your staff, they're going to want to do well for you. They're going to want to be accountable to really help take care of the residents even more. So once we get through orientation, we just really need to hone in on that handoff and how we can do it well to make sure we're setting them up for a good future with us and that they don't cut out in 30 days or whatever the case is.
Check back in with Jeremy.
Hey Alicia, this is Jeremy, our new CNA. Jeremy, this is our scheduler, Alicia.
I already got your schedule. It's 5 days a week, second shift.
Oh,
We start tomorrow.
I said day shift. I can't do second shift.
You work where I tell you to. I'll
I got a whole bunch of showers and I gotta change it. Well, I don't got time for this.
Are you putting a new person on my wall? Come on.
Poor Jeremy. Poor Jeremy. All right. We're running a little behind schedule. So I know there's a few of you that we're working with Nate on a few questions. So I've got Gina. I've got Patrick. Where's Carrie? Carrie, all right. So just stay in your place and then just stand up. I'm going to ask some of our EDs a few questions. Gina. What is one creative way you have made orientation feel more personal?
It starts from before they even come in, before they even come in the door. Our payroll coordinator, Brandy, gets to know them. Gina can help too. There's 2 Ginas, by the way. Just getting to know them, why they want to work with us, what they want to do. We have a welcome bag before they even come in of some of their goodies. I know Keisha did that when I first started. If it's their, what they like and having a, I don't think I need that. Yeah. Oh, hi. Yeah. So just getting to know them before they come in the door, building that connection right from the get-go, making them feel special before they even start working at AV.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gina. Patrick, I'm doing my best Phil Donahue right here. Most of you do not get that reference. All right. Patrick, why do you believe building relationships during orientation is just as important as covering policies and procedures?
From the onset, when staff come to the building, we create that atmosphere where they understand that we are at the same level. And we sit down to talk with them. We don't just start talking about the policy. Sometimes I act like I'm even interviewing for a job. I talk about my journey to where I am today, and I get them to understand that you are here as building the foundation for your own self. So when they come in, I don't even go there and talk about policy from the onset. I sit down and I talk to them like they are here with the rest of the crew to start a new job and a new journey for themselves.
Awesome. Thank you, Patrick. Carrie, where'd you go? There you are. Carrie. What do you think new team members need to feel during their first few days, and how do you ensure they feel that?
They need to feel welcomed, so we make sure that we know their name. We make sure that during our morning meeting that we're talking about who's coming in, so everybody knows that they're going to be there, and that we know what department they're going to be in, and that, we just make them feel welcomed and that they know that we're ready for them and prepared for them to be there that day.
Absolutely. Thank you, Carrie. All right, we have a few more questions, but we are going to move right along. Quick retain advertisement for you. Please, for this, so I'm going to put it in context of what we're talking about today for orientation. The retain tool on that new hire feedback that you're getting, we've never had this before. We've never had, ASC is really good at reports and data. You get inundated with reports and data, but we've never really had this kind of data to tell you how your new hires are feeling about orientation, onboarding the first 30, 60, 90 days. So please make sure your PBC really understands, and I think we've been doing a pretty good job of getting everybody signed up on orientation day to get their profile set up so that those questions that they're going to answer, you will get that information. But Retain is a fantastic tool. We've never had anything like it. And in regards to orientation, you now have visibility on that new hire feedback. I'm not going to go through all these sections. Just the new hire feedback portion is what I'm promoting here today. So we are going to now check in with Jeremy on how things could have gone differently.
Hi, I'm here for orientation.
Oh, are you Jeremy?
Yes.
Great, we were waiting on you.
Oh.
Give me just one moment, okay?
Oh, yes, of course.
Hey, how's it going? Good, how are you? Okay, cool. Are we about done with it? Yes, I just need to run your report and submit it. Okay, awesome. If you want to go ahead and shoot that over to me, I'll take care of that since I have orientation. Yes. Hi, you're here for orientation?
Yes, hi.
Jeremy, I remember seeing you when you came in for your interview.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, come on in. You can have a seat. We're just waiting on the others. Would you like something to drink?
Sure.
Okay, I will get you a water.
Thank you. So do I.
All right, guys, so welcome to orientation. Again, I'm Kayla. I'm the payroll benefits coordinator. So if you ever have questions about benefits, your paycheck, come find me. So Krista, welcome. I know you just transferred from Jersey City. Your husband got a new job. That's great. So excited to have you. Jeremy, high school grad, went through our program to become a CNA. Are you ready to get going?
Well, I hope so.
Perfect. And then Sal, I know this was your first time as a full-time RN. Congratulations, we're so excited to have you. So today, I'm going to talk about policies, benefits, we're going to watch some videos. We will have Rhonda come in and do clinical stuff with you guys. We do have lunch that we'll provide for you. And you guys, remember, we're going to be here till at least 3. So, hope that's okay. All right, well, we're going to get started here. Any questions? All right, well, welcome aboard, guys. All right, guys, so now some of our leadership team is going to come in. Our DNS is going to talk about, like, clinical stuff. John, our maintenance director, is going to talk about his area a little bit. But right now, Nathan Anderson, our executive director, is going to come in and touch a little bit on abuse and neglect with you guys. Thanks, Nathan.
Hi, I'm Nathan. I'm the executive director. Nice to meet you, Krista and Jeremy. Welcome. Sal, nice to meet you. All right, so I'm going to talk today about a few important topics. Policies and procedures, abuse and neglect. But first, I'd like to take some time to get to know each of you.
So Jeremy, this is Alicia, our
Who's that?
scheduler.
Hi, Jeremy. Good to see schedule. We talked about day shift, right?
Yeah.
It'll be Monday through Friday, 6 to 2, every other weekend. Is that good?
Perfect.
Okay. Here's this, you can check it over.
Thank you.
Hello, Jeremy. Welcome to our team. I'm glad to have you.
Thank you so much.
And this is Lachey. She's going to be the one training you on Monday.
Perfect.
Nice to meet
It's
you.
good to meet you too.
Yeah, let me kind of show you what's going on around here.
Perfect.
If you'd like to follow me,
Oh.
get started.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Have a good day.
He finally had a great experience. That's wonderful. All right, so lots of good information today, guys. I hope you gleaned some things from it. So as always, what we're going to do is make sure that we weren't just listening and having fun, which we were, of course, doing, but what are we going to commit to as we walk away, right? So if you have an education session and you listen to all the great things, but then do nothing with it, then it's just knowledge that sits in your head versus a tool that can help you improve and move forward. So what we're asking is you have a paper in front of you. You're going to carry it with you today, by the way, so the bag, the pen, and your trophy cup will go with you. But this is a commitment card. So in each of the rooms, and I believe we did this last year as well, in each of the rooms you will be asked to provide some information on here, but this is for use, right? So it's a takeaway. So you'll see there are a few lines on there. So if you're super ambitious, 3 takeaways is awesome. But what we're really asking, our big ask of you is what one thing, at least, what one thing could you take away from the session today and go back to your facility and immediately implement it? Maybe it doesn't take a lot of resources, it doesn't take a lot of people power, but can make a big impact. What is one thing that you can do that you heard today that will transform your new hire experience? Take some time to do that.
All right, guys. On your tables, each of you have a gold cup in front of you, minus Kelly and Mandy and Linda. You got to find one somewhere. But you guys are all going to take those gold trophies with you. And before you leave, take a flower out of the vase in front of you. In every room you go into, they're going to have a vase, and you're going to take a flower out so that you have your bouquet at the end of the day. And underneath your trophies, it tells you what each color of the flowers represent. And then before you guys are leaving, if you'll please just mess your chairs up and move them around again so we can do the same thing all over again. Thank you.